The only thing any of these guys can do is go out and have a great camp and make it really hard on us as decision makers. And Moses is having a great camp, and he's playing great. So all he can do is keep doing what he's doing.
Now, I want to start this video by saying I am not a Kerr hater. If you've been rocking with the channel for a while, I think you understand, listen, he's not absolved from criticism. Last year, he deserved plenty of criticism. But I'm not someone who just always wants to put it on Kerr. And I generally believe that basketball is a player-driven sport. This isn't the NFL. Most of the time, it falls on the players. But again, Kerr is a part of this. We understand that. And listen, I appreciate Steve for being one of the more transparent coaches around the league, right? Where he is pretty genuine in the stuff that he says up there. But you got to do a better job kind of reading the room with this one, right? Like that, I know when everyone saw that, it was like, eesh, right? He about to get Tatumed. He about to get Tatumed, right? That's how you read it, right? Because his tone, his facial expression, it was like, remember when Hard Knocks was good on HBO years ago when they would show the guy getting cut, right? That sounded like one of those coaches' speeches when they called the dude in and, the sixth linebacker, and it was like, hey, you did everything you could do. But, that's all you can do, right? And we know Moody's not getting waived or cut, right? But again, another hot button topic, or one of the bigger ones, is Moses Moody's playing time. And that's part of, I think, the hate that Pods has received from, coming in last year to now was, I think a lot of the fan base views it as, okay, Pods is taking some of Moody's minutes, and Moody is a player that the fans are emotionally invested in and want to see him succeed. My guy, Stevie Ray, longtime patron, he made a great point yesterday and was saying, well, projecting forward, when you look at the Western Conference and you look at the elite perimeter players, SGA, Luka, Ant, Book, like Moody certainly matches up better against those guys if we're talking about moving forward just with his size and length. Right now, some of y'all may say, well, it doesn't really matter who you put on him, whether it's Pods or Moody, like that ain't gonna matter with that type of player. Fair, right? But, I think to better help people understand Kerr, and I think his thinking with this, because again, a lot of people are just like, why isn't Moody playing? It's Moody, it should be Moody. Steve Kerr values connectors over scores. We know this, right? And so I can guarantee you in Steve's mind, he goes, well, Pods handles the ball better, he passes better, and he rebounds better. Enough said, right? Where I think in most people's minds, people see Moody as a better shooter, scorer, and a bigger, longer defender. The defense, we can. I think that there is an argument to be made. Pods probably a better defender last year, just effort-wise, angles, understanding, scouting, and stuff like that. But that's what Kerr values. He's going to value these connector guys. And so Moody not being a connector, because let's be honest, Moody, not exactly a ball mover, right? He is, and his instincts are to score, right? But he hasn't really got the opportunity to fully show that. Maybe now with Slow-Mo being another connector in a big body, that opens up more opportunity for Moses Moody moving forward. But yeah, man, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I know y'all saw it and you were like, ooh, because it wasn't even what he said, it was how he said it, right? It was how he said it, and it's like, oh, he's doing everything, but I don't know. And then, of course, the other big subject, these two will always be tied at the hip because they were both lottery picks in the same class. Here's what he had to say about Kuminga in the same interview.
So how do you view him differently maybe now as you're...
Well, I have more confidence in him and his ability to continue to grow and impact the game. And so the minutes are what they are. I mean, again, we look at everything during camp. We look at combinations. And, we just signed 3 really good players with Kyle Anderson, Melton, and Buddy Hield. So we're gonna try to win every game, whatever that means. And if if guys separate themselves, like say Steph did in year 4 of his career, then that's where you start seeing 35 minutes. But go back and look, took Steph 4 years, and that was after 3 years of college, right? So, there's nothing, there's nothing guaranteed. It's just you separate yourself from the group, and you make it impossible for the coach to not play you. That's the only way to do it.
Whatever happened to that?
Now, you contrast that with the way he speaks about Andrew Wiggins, who, granted, Wiggins has a much more established career. I understand that, right? But look, man, it's now or never. You got to empower Kuminga or not. And I know a lot of people have asked me, Alk, starting lineup, right? In this debate about the 2-guard spot, the 5 spot. And I have my thoughts. I had my thoughts, but I'm like, let's let preseason play out, because that's going to be a part of the decision, right? So why talk about it now? We've got 5 more preseason games, so we'll continue to talk and monitor about this starting lineup. But the one strong thing that I do feel about the starting lineup, Jonathan Kuminga's got to be in it. Jonathan Kuminga's got to be in it. You got to empower him. And I understand the camp that doesn't believe in Kuminga. I get it's not, Kerr said it, nothing is guaranteed. And you watch the NBA long enough, we've seen more talented players than Kuminga fail. Like this, it's not, I get it. However, all we've heard about is Steph's window. The reality is, to peak Steph's little window here, the highest ceiling is if Kuminga becomes the number 2 option. And so to me, I think you got to empower him out of the gates. And until he can't be that guy, then if he can't be 20 games in, then back off of it, right? But I think you got to give him this opportunity at this point because of the ceiling of it, right? You hear him talk about Wiggs. He's like, well, Wiggs looks great. I expect him to have a huge year. He's going to be the man. Second guy, he's going to score. Like, you don't hear that. I think I would love to see that type of expectation and confidence put on Kuminga. And again, with Kuminga and Moody, you just hear this reluctance from Kerr. It's not congruent with what he's saying in his body language, right? And so that would be my thing. And again, through these 5 preseason games, we can talk Melton, this, that. What I'll say is, I don't think you can start Buddy and Steph in the backcourt. That's one thing I know, right? But it remains, let's let the preseason play out. You got to find a way to put Kuminga in that starting lineup. And no more of this holding the carrot out in front of him and this and that. Like it's now or never. And that's where our ceiling is at. And so I really want to see Kuminga get the opportunity right away. Again, 10, 12 games in, if it's not working, okay, pivot out of it. But don't go to it after other things aren't working. Give him the initial opportunity. That's how I'm feeling. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Underdog, continuing to have some fun and play fantasy. I'm going to set up some fantasy basketball leagues moving forward and have some fun interactions with the community. The link will be in the description. 50% bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. It's really just a fun way to add a little something extra to the Warrior games, and you can do it modestly and hopefully win some money and just a little something extra. So Underdog, huge supporter of the channel. The link is in the description. But yeah, man, overall, it's now or never for both Moses and Kuminga. And so I think that they've waited their turn. As exciting as Lindy Waters looks, and how much he loves pods as a connector, I think you owe it to the ceiling, because again, we keep hearing, well, okay, let's say Lindy Waters is shooting 50% from 3. You got to play him. He's hot. No. The ceiling for Steph to get number 5 is if Moody and Kuminga become who we think they can be. How can they become that if they're not truly given that opportunity? You may have to bite down a couple 10. I know everyone wants to get off to a hot start in the West, and that will be the pushback, right? Some may say, well, Alk, the West is so competitive. We barely made the play-in. They don't have 10 or 12 games to play around with these lineups. That's fair. But if you want to swing big, if you want to swing for the ceiling, Moody and Kuminga need first crack and first opportunity on this season and in this rotation. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.